Welcome, friends, to Empty Cloud Monastery again. We're here with Bhante Sumitta, our senior monk, currently the most senior here at Empty Cloud Monastery, who will be sharing the first of the 3 series of talks on the stages of awakening. Welcome to Kumu, Joy, Roy, and everyone else who is watching but not typing in or checking in just yet. And without further ado, I'll pass it on to Bhante Sumitta.
Samantha Chakravalesu Atra Gachantu Devata Sadhamang Munirajasa Sunantu Sagga Mokkadang Dhamma Savana Kalo Ayang Bhadanta Dhamma Savana Kalo Ayang Bhadanta Dhamma Savana Kalo Ayang Bhadanta Namo Tassa Bhagavato Arahato Samma Sambuddhassa Namo Tassa Bhagavato Arahato Samma Sambuddhassa Namo Tassa Bhagavato Arahato Samma Sambuddhassa Sotapannasati Sotapatti Phalang Pattassa Sakkaya Ditthiyati Visati Vatukaya Sakkaya Ditthiyam Vichikichhayati Atthasodhane Sukankaya Silabbata Paramasati Silena Suddhi Vatena Suddhiti Paramasitva Uppajjana Kaddhiti. My utmost respect to the perfectly enlightened Samma Sambuddha, the noble doctrine of the Buddha, and the noble Mahasangha, the disciples of the Buddha. Hello everyone. Good evening and good morning to all of you who are joining us today with Empty Cloud Monastery evening Dhamma talk on every Wednesday. So starting today, we will discuss about a series of Dhamma talks that are related to our final goal as Buddhists. So are we ready? This is a very serious question that I need to ask myself. Am I ready? Am I ready to achieve the Sotapanna? So it's a question that I would like to ask every one of you too. Are you ready to get out of this samsara? Are you prepared to give up anything and everything you have? And so with that, let's get started. So what is Sotapanna? Sota Apanna. Sota means stream. Apanna means arrived or reached. or entered. So Sota Apanna means stream enterer. What happens when you enter a stream? When you enter a stream, your destination will be the great ocean. So the one who attains Sotapanna, that means his or her destination, spiritual destination, is confirmed. That will be the final Nibbana, final liberation. One way or the other. All the other things that we do, it's very good we give dana, it's very good we observe sila, it's very good we practice bhavana. All the other things are really, really wonderful. It's so very good we make a lot of merits, and it's very good we are born in the heavenly realm, the Devaloka or Brahma realm. Very wonderful. So much happiness, so much peace, so much comfort. But then again, it's not the end result that we are all expecting. Our expectation is the final liberation. So only one person who can be rest assured of that person's final liberation is the Sotapanna person. Only that person can be very confident of his or her final destination. All the other people will have to come back to this samsara. This samsara, we have been traveling in this samsara for millions and millions of births. So I think it is time for us to very seriously think, practice, and try to attain some kind of a goal that we are so close to, at least Sotapanna. The person who is, according to the Theravada Buddhism, the one who has attained Sotapanna will be, it is he or she is called Satta Khatu Parama. That means that person will be born only 7 more births at the most. Only 7 more births. So we have been suffering so many millions and millions of births. So Sotapanna person will never have to worry after this, because he also will never be born in the lower realms. That means he will never be born in the animal realms or any other hell realms. That's again is a really, really wonderful achievement. So Sotapanna person has so many things, so many benefits. And when we pay respect to the Buddha, Dhamma, Sangha, we have a beautiful stanza in Pali that we pay respect to the Sangha. We say, Supatipanno Bhagavato Savaka Sangho Ujjupatipanno Bhagavato Savaka Sangho Nyaya Patipanno Bhagavato Savaka Sangho Samichi Patipanno Bhagavato Savaka Sangho Yadidang Chattari Purisa Yogani Atta Purisa Pungala Esa Bhagavato Savaka Sangho Ahuneyo Pahuneyo Dakhineyo Anjali Karaniyo Anuttarang Punyakhetang Lokasati. So this is a very popular Pali chanting that Many Buddhist people, they know it by heart and they recite every single day when they pay respect to the Buddha, Dhamma, Sangha. So the Blessed One's community of disciples are well practiced and keeps to the straight way, and keeps to the right way, and keeps to the proper way. These are the four pairs of persons, the 8 individuals. Atta Purisa Puggala, 8 individuals. This Blessed One's community of disciples is worthy of offerings, worthy of hospitality, worthy of gifts, worthy of salutation with the lotus palms, a supreme field of merit for the world. So if someone is part of this Mahasangha, and that person is a Sotapanna, that person, that monk is an Arya Puggala. And if a monk can become a Sotapanna, according to Dakkhina Vibhanga Sutta, it is said, if someone offers something to a Sotapanna monk or nun, the merits that person can generate is immeasurable. Immeasurable is the merit that you can gain by offering something to a Sotapanna person. And remember, even for the lay people, you can be Sotapanna. That's also very interesting. And we have quite a number of Sotapanna people in our Buddha Sasana during the Buddha's time. Great Anathapindika, the millionaire, he was a great businessman, but he was a Sotapanna person. And great Visakha, another great devotee of the Buddha, she was also a Sotapanna. And there have been so many other men and women who have become Sotapanna, and they had lived lay life for the rest of their life. So definitely they have not been born in the um, they have not been born in the um, hell realm after their death. So either they must be in this human realm, or they must be in the Deva realm. And it is said Anathapindika became a powerful Deva, and one time he came to see the Buddha, to pay respect to him. And that time it is said the whole Jetavana monastery was shining so brightly. And many of the monks at the temple who have not understood what was that, they were wondering who was that. And then the Buddha said later on, that was Anathapindika, the great devotee who had been the builder of that temple, Jetavana monastery. So there have been so many devas who have attained Sotapanna, who have there should be so many deva brahmas who have attained Sotapanna. And probably the Buddha said, as long as the Dhamma is there, as long as we practice the Dhamma, the world will not be empty of arhants. That means Sotapanna humans should also be there today. So with all due respect to all the Sotapanna people, one step that is the most difficult for all of us to crack, that would be the Sotapanna stage. Once we are in that stage, it is way easier for us to go towards the other steps. So it's very, very important to know what is Sotapanna. So what happens when you become a Sotapanna? And there are many things that can happen to you when you become a Sotapanna. And it is said, out of the 10 fetters, you will completely eradicate 3 fetters. They are called saṁyojana, dasa saṁyojana. So if you can get rid of those saṁyojanas, that means you can become Sotapanna. What are those 3 saṁyojanas? Sakkaya Ditthi, Vichikicha, and Silabbata Paramasa. So as usual, I would like to say, Sakkaya Ditthi is mentioned in the Tipitaka so many times. In one version, Sakkaya Ditthi is mentioned 400 times. I'm sure there should be other variations too. And I went to see the other Vichikicha. Vichikicha means doubt. It is true, like we are all doubtful. We don't know whether we are doing the right thing or not. We are in the right path or not. We are practicing the right way or not. So doubt is more here apparent in the Pitaka 1186 times. So no doubt it is more. And Silapada Paramasa 211 times. I've seen many other variations too. So all these things talk about different ways that we in Sutta Pitaka, in Vinaya Pitaka, in Abhidhamma Pitaka, and later Tripitaka books, we have a number of suttas, so many suttas mentioned about this sutta. Every morning here at the Empty Cloud Monastery, we chant a beautiful chanting, and that is about the bhikkhunis. And the foremost among the bhikkhunis, we talk about those Agga Savika. So, Etadagga Pali in Etadaggam Bhikkave Mama Savikanam Bhikkhuninam. There is one bhikkhuni who was called Dhammadinna. Dhammadinna bhikkhuni is foremost among Dhamma Katika. And there is a very interesting sutta. To be honest, I haven't found many suttas preached by the bhikkhunis. I think Ayasoma would be very happy to hear that this sutta by bhikkhuni this Dhammadinna is a really, really beautiful sutta. And in this sutta, Venerable Dhammadinna, great Mahateri, she talks about she had a discussion with a person called Visakha, and he asked so many questions from her, and she gives answer to all these questions really very interestingly. And then she gives actually answer to these questions, and then she asks this upasaka, the devotee, you go and ask the Buddha to confirm what we had today, the discussion that we had today. And so so he went to the Buddha, he explained the whole thing with the Buddha, and then the Buddha appreciate Venerable Mahateri Dhammadinna's amazing intellectual capacity, and also the power of her explaining the Dhamma, and Buddha appreciated it so much. So this is the sutta what we call Chulla Vedala Sutta, Majjhima Nikaya 44. And yeah, so here Visakha asks the questions from her, and Katame Panaye Sakkaya Ditti Hoti Idauso Visakha Asutava Putujjano Ariyanang Adassavi Ariya Dhammasa Akovido Ariya Dhamme Avinito Sappurisanang Adassavi Sappurisa Dhammasa Akovido Sappurisa Dhamme Avinito Rupang Attato Samanupassati Rupavantangva Vattanang Attanang Attaniva Rupang Rupasmingva Attanang Vedanang etc. And then Sanya Sankhare Vinyane Attato Samanupassati. And here in this sutta she explains the 20 kinds of Sakkaya Ditthis, self-identification. And in many suttas, the same thing is explained. So I just was curious about Venerable Dhammadina, Theri Dhammadina's story. So I really wanted to highlight it today. So in this sutta, she explains, friend Visaka, we are an uninstructed, run-of-the-mill person that is called Asutava Putujjano, Aryanang Adasavi, who has no regard for noble ones, and Arya Dhamma Akovido is not well versed or disciplined in their Dhamma, Akovido Arya Dhamme Avinito. Then Sappurisanang Adasavi, who has no regard for men of integrity, is not well versed or disciplined in their Dhamma, assumes form or the body to be the self. So this is the thing that we need to fix today. And we think that this body is the self. Or we think the self as possessing the rupa or the form, the body. Or form as in the self. Or the self as in the form. So these are the four variations of the body or the rupa that we create. So this one, when we apply it to others too, Vedana, Sanya, Sankhara, Vijnana, feeling, perception, and fabrications and consciousness, and that will become 20 kinds of what do you call Sakkaya Ditthi. So he assumes, for example, the last one also is like that. So when we assume Vijnana to be the self, or the self as possessing consciousness, or consciousness as in the self, or the self as in the consciousness, then it becomes a self identification. So how to get rid of that? How to get rid of that? She explains the other way around. So the one who is well versed and disciplined in the Dhamma, who has regard for noble ones, and well instructed disciples of the noble ones, who has regard for noble ones, is well versed and disciplined in their Dhamma, who has regard for men of integrity, is well versed and disciplined in the Dhamma, does not assume form to be the self, or the self as possessing form, or form as in the self, or the self as in form. So these are the four variations. Remember, form to be the self, or the self as possessing form, or form as in the self, or the self as in form. So when we multiply this with the other aggregates, feeling, perception, fabrications, and consciousness, it becomes 20 kinds of Sakkaya Ditthi. So it is said in many other suttas too that when you get rid of Sakkaya Ditthi like that, Visati Vattukaya Sakkaya Ditthi, you can be one step closer to the Sotapanna. So it's really important that we learn more about this. And then Vichikicca. What is Vichikicca? Vichikicca yati atthasuthanesu kankaya. So there are 8 doubts that one can have. Here in many suttas again, it is mentioned, Kankati hoti iti buddha dhamma sangha gunesu cheva sikkaya cha pubbante cha aparante cha pubba parante cha paticca samuppade chati atthasuthanesu kankaya samannagato hoti. Doubt in the virtues of the Buddha, and doubt in the virtues of the Dhamma, doubt in the virtues of the Sangha, doubt in the morality, doubt in the previous births, future birth, and also previous and future births, and dependent origination. So these are the doubts according to the suttas. So vigata chikichati vichikicha. When you don't have the doubt, when you don't have clarity, that becomes vichikicha. Sabhavangva vichinanto etaya kichati kilamatiti vichikicha. So vichikicha is also defined as something that nature, the investigation nature is affected, and also it makes you almost unconscious, almost faint, so you can really see the real true nature of it because of the doubt. So this is there is an interesting discussion about this subject actually in Sutta Central. This um, this explanation about the doubt, and many oh, it's not about the doubt, it's about the other one, Silabbata Paramasa. So doubt again is also a part of Pancha Nivarana. When we attain the jhanas, we have Vitakka, Vichara, Piti, Sukha. So these are an ekagata. So we say when we get out of this what do you call pancha nivarana, kamachanda, vyapada, thinamidda, uddhacha, kukkucha, vichikicha. So here also we have vichikicha. So that doubt is also somewhat related to this. So all kinds of doubt can actually confuse us. It becomes our mind confused. We don't see the truth. Our eyes, our mind, and everything becomes so hazy, and it's not clear what we see or what we know when we have the doubt. So it should be pretty clear about our path when we want to become Sotapanna. No wonder why we can't attain Sotapanna, why we have so many doubts. We don't know, we are not sure, we are confused what to do, where to go. All these things are there. And in another very beautiful sutta, between a beautiful discussion between Venerable Sariputta and Venerable Punnamantani Putta, the discussion about the 7 purifications are there. Chitta Visuddhi, Ditti Visuddhi, then Ditti Visuddhi, Sila Visuddhi is the purification by way of morality, and Chitta Visuddhi is the purification by way of mind, and purification in the Ditti, that is the view, and then Kankha Vitarana, that is the purification by way of getting rid of the doubts. So these are all hindrances that we have. This can be a great hindrance. We don't know. Magga jnana dasana visuddhi means we have to find the purification, whether it is the right path or the wrong path. Magga amagga jnana dasana means you need to know, you need to see, you need to have that capability to figure out whether it is the right or the wrong path. So these are again very important things when it comes to vichikicha. Okay, so let's go to the next one, Silabbata Paramasa. Silabbata Paramasa is again, as I mentioned, I like the discussion in the Sutta Central about the Silabbata Paramasa. Sila and Vata. So Sila means morality, and Vata means rites and rituals. And so this has been explained in many different ways. In the Ratha Vinita Sutta, actually, we have this purification of morality. This thing is mentioned there, Majjhima Nikaya 24. And another sutta, Kukkura Vatika Sutta, a very interesting sutta. I felt really good when I read it. At the beginning, I felt like really amusing, very funny. But towards the end, you see it's a really amazingly powerful sutta too. Kukkura Vatika Sutta means Majjhima Nikaya 57. It's again very often cited to explain the third fetter. It's about how those days people were trying to live like different animals. So there were two friends. One was it is said like go vata. That means he was living like an ox. So ox duty ascetic. And the other one was called Sunakavata, that is dog duty ascetic. So what happens here? They went to the Buddha. The dog duty ascetic was naked, and also he lived like a dog. And they went to the Buddha. They also paid respect to him, and this dog duty ascetic. He sat on the floor just like a dog. You know how the dog sits, like he curls around, and some dogs even like circumambulate 3 times. So this ascetic was also doing the same, just did the same way as any other dogs would do. And so the other friend, his other friend, he was asking the Buddha, the Blessed One, what do you think of this person? Um, uh, um, okay. When they went to the Buddha, he asked, I'm wondering what will happen to this person, my friend, this ox duty ascetic. What will happen to my friend? He never eats food if you do not throw on the floor. Because he had the habit of a dog. He would do exactly like a dog. He would even not wear clothes and all. So what will happen? Venerable, this naked dog duty ascetic, Senior was his name, does what is hard to do. He eats his food when it is thrown on the ground. That dog duty has long been taken up and practiced by him. What will be his destination? What will be his future course? And then the Buddha said, enough, Ponna, don't say anything else. Do not ask me. And then actually he asked the Buddha 3 times. And then the Buddha explained that time, if you really want to know, Puna, someone developed the dog duty fully and instinctively. He developed the dog habit fully and instinctively. He developed the dog mind fully and instinctively. He develops dog behavior fully and instinctively. Having done that, on the dissolution of the body, after death, he reappears in the company of dogs. But if his view is such as this, by this virtue or duty or asceticism or religious life, I shall become a great god or some lesser god, that is wrong view in this case. Now there are 2 destinations for one with wrong view, I say, hell or the animal womb. So Punna, if his dog duty is perfected, it will lead him to the company of dogs. If not, it will lead him to the hell. And when it was said, Senior, the naked dog duty ascetic, he wept and he shed tears. And then he said to the Buddha, I am not crying. I did not cry because the Blessed One spoken that, I still wonder about what happened to my friend, ox duty ascetic. That ox duty ascetic has long been taken up and practiced by him. What will be his destination? And then the Buddha said the same thing, like to the other person. So Buddha said, do not ask Senia about that. So he asked also 3 times, and then the Buddha explained the same thing. Either he will be born in the company of oxen, or he will be born in the hell. So that is the story of them. And then the two people, they asked the Buddha, I'm sure, Venerable Sir, you are well capable of teaching us the right path. And then the Buddha explained about the karma. When you do karma, 4 kinds of karma is explained there. And so after that, they were very happy about this teaching. And the ox duty ascetic, he said, I have given up my ox duty asceticism. From today now onward, I am going to become a proclaimed Buddhist devotee of the Blessed One, and I am also taking the refuge of the Buddha Dhamma Sangha from now onward till the end of my life. And so the other person, the dog duty ascetic, that was Senia, and he said, I want to become a monk. And then the Buddha said, if you want to become a monk, having come from a different tradition, we will give you a probation period. You can be admitted right away because you have been practicing this extreme asceticism, dog asceticism, for a very long time. So you need to practice as a probationary period, and then we will see how you go on. And he said, yes, I'm ready for that. And at the end of the sutta, it is said, he has been so wonderful, and he has been practicing so diligently and sincerely, and he was able to become an arahant. So that was the end of the story. This is again a very interesting sutta, Kukkurawatika Sutta, Majjhima Nikaya 57. Having said that, also it's really interesting about the story that we have. Like, I think one of the most difficult things, as I mentioned, would be this Silapata Paramasa too. Because in our practices, we also have so many different practices. Those days, people were practicing, they were immersing in the water, thinking that the water can wash away their evils. And some were just sitting surrounded by fire, so that they thought their defilements can be burned by the fire. So some were like sitting on one leg, and they were doing so many different practices. They were actually experimenting. They didn't know what to do. Magga Magga Jnana Darsana Visuddhi was not there with them. So they also did have a lot of doubts, and they didn't know what to do. So they were practicing in so many different ways. And so even today we do the same, right? And some people, they want to wake up in the morning, they would touch certain thing and or see something, and they would not see some other things. And let's say, like, you get ready to go to office, and suddenly the first scene would be some, maybe a very unfortunate thing, or maybe a cry of a certain bird or an animal or something. Then you would think it is inauspicious. It is not auspicious. I should not go to the office. It's not good. So there are a lot of myths, lot of rituals, rites that people practice, and maybe that is why we are still not being able to attain Sotapanna. So no wonder this Silapada Paramasa again, Sakkaya Ditti, Vichikicha, and Silapada Paramasa, they are all three important steps. If we make a mistake there, we don't know we would be able to achieve Sotapanna or not. So really, really interesting and very important that we actually work on this more and try to figure out about these things too. And I also recommend you read more suttas about this, and there are many suttas about the Silabbata Paramasa, the third law of fetter. I would like to read something here. Actually, they in the Sutta Central, Ajahn Brahm stressed that the most important immediate goal for Buddhists is to overcome the delusion of the self, the first fetter. Because nobody is safe from the bondage of samsara until one becomes a stream enterer. But if all three lower fetters are broken at the same time for the stream enterer, breaking the second and third fetter must be as important as the first fetter. What does the third law of fetter, Silabbata Paramasa, really refer to? What is the power of this fetter that ranks it as equally problematic as grasping on the deluded view about the self and doubt? One of the translations of Silabbata Paramasa is attachment to rites and rituals. This would mean Buddhists should give up religious rites and rituals. This makes sense since there is no mention of rites and rituals in the Eightfold Path. The only way to liberation, rites and rituals are irrelevant to liberation from rebirth. Bhikkhu Bodhi said it is not an accurate translation. He translated it as the distorted grasp of rules and vows. Yeah, so the discussion go on like that, and also the Kukkura Vatika Sutta is mentioned there, and also many other people are also contribute to this discussion. I think it will be really important for us to think whether our rituals, whether our practices are leading to the Nibbana or not. I think one way of getting to know about this thing would be to recognize that will it generate unwholesome roots like lobha, dosa, moha. Will it generate wholesome thoughts, roots like alobha, adosa, amoha? I think if we can figure out this thing, that will be really, really helpful. Yes, so I think we also need to give some time for people to ask questions. And I would like to say in the Buddha's time, there have been so many people practicing the same thing. And today we also need to practice. And there are three practices that we should focus on. That is Kaya Viveka, Chitta Viveka, and Upadi Viveka. So Kaya Viveka is something that we also need to focus on. Kaya Viveka has been explained in many suttas like Katamo Kaya Viveko, Ida Bhikkave Bhikkhu Vivittan Senasanam Bhajati, Aranyan Rukkamulam Pabbatang Kandarang Giriguhang Susanang Vanapattang, etc. So practicing alone is really appreciated here in many suttas because it gives us a chance to talk to ourselves, and that solitary practice is explained in many suttas as a really good thing. So that person, so eko gacchati, eko tittati, eko nisidati, eko sayyang kappeti, eko gamang pindaya pavisati, eko patikankamati, and all these things are explained. Like he walks alone, he sits alone, he sleeps alone, he goes to Pindapata alone. Many things he does alone. But then when you are alone, you practice alone, you are good, you should be good. But when you go back to the mainstream society, then your that practice should be tested to the extreme. So it's very important. We all practice, do those retreats, whatever we do, and then we should be able to live in the mainstream society without being affected. Even though there are many explanations about that. Even though, let's say, like you are in an urban monastery where lots of activities are happening, and if you still can live like a solitary practitioner, you still can do that, and there is a way to do that, and then it makes so much sense to you. So whether you are in a solitary, lonely, or rural or forest monastery or whatever, the most important thing is you have the practice, you have that confidence in you. So this, I think, will be a very important thing that we all need to know. And I would like to say the person who is Sotapanna also will have very good qualities, as I mentioned before. Sotapanna has abandoned the first three of lower fetters: personality view, doubt, misapprehension. This is according to one of the more famous suttas, also Ratana Sutta. And then he is freed from the possibility of rebirth in the four lower realms, Ratana Sutta again. He is incapable of concealing his bodily, verbal, and mental transgression, Ratana Sutta. And he has abandoned any lust, hate, delusion that would be strong enough to cause rebirth in lower realms. This is Abhabba Sutta in Anguttara Nikaya. And he is capable of 9 actions. He is incapable of 9 actions. This is Bahudhatuka Sutta. It says, treating any sankhara as permanent, this Sotapanna person will not be able to do that. And treating any sankhara as pleasurable, treating any dhamma as self, killing his mother, father, or arahant, causing bleeding in a tathagata with evil intent, these are called anantariya papakamma. Those most powerful demerits that someone can do. So Sotapanna person will not do, or even the splitting the sangha, schism among the sangha, and going over to another teacher will also not happen. And these are the things that Sotapanna person is incapable. And there are also he is incapable of living without reverence to the Buddha Dhamma Sangha. He has a great and unshaken confidence in the Buddha Dhamma Sangha, and also the Vinaya, his training. Nor can he embrace any other 62 wrong views or take an eighth birth. That means he will be born maximum 7 births. This is according to Pathama Abhabba Panjana Sutta. This is Anguttara Nikaya. So he is incapable of seeking outside the Sangha for persons worthy of gifts. This is Dutiya Abhabba Panjana Sutta. And he cannot fall into 6 wrong views that pleasure and pain are self-wrought or wrought by another. This is again Chatutta Abhabba Panjana Sutta. So there are quite a few suttas about that. And he is fixed unshakenly in the true Dhamma, incapable of backsliding. That means he will not come back to this sansara after his completion, and his future dukkha is finite. He has attained to knowledge not common to worldlings. Cause and causality, rise in Dhamma, are seen rightly by him. This is Anisansana Sutta of Anguttara Nikaya. He possessed unshakable confidence in the three jewels. Again, another many suttas. So the qualities of a stream winner or Sotapanna, he is wise in the faith in the wise faith in the Buddha, Buddhe aveccha pasada, and Dhamme aveccha pasada, and Sanghe aveccha pasada, and also moral virtue dear to the noble ones, that is called Arya Kanta Sila. These are the qualities of a stream winner. And then if you want to become a Sotapanna, these are the qualities that you should cultivate. Associating with true individuals, that is Sappurisa Sangseva. And hearing the true teaching, Saddhamma Savana, and wise attention, Yoniso Manasikara, and practice of the Dhamma in accordance Dhammanu Dhamma Patipatti. In accordance with the Dhamma, when you practice, you can also become Sotapanna. So it is not impossible, still it is possible. So I hope and wish that all of us be able to attain somewhere close to that. And as we have been thinking of wondering, confused, where to go, what to do, and I think we have some glimpse of hope. Sotapanna is the best way. If we cut off these three fetters, Sakkaya Ditthi, Vicikicca, Silabbata Paramasa, there is a chance for us to open the gate of the Nibbana.
Andamayang Dhammakataya Sarukarang Dadamase
Sadhu, 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 anumodami. Thank you, Bhante, for that talk. And thank you all for joining us. We have quite a few people watching and appreciating the Dhamma. And for now, only one question from Gita and one from Bhante Sudaso, two from Bhante Sudaso. So maybe Bhante Sudaso wants to go first, and I'll let the other people type in. Bhante?
So, Bhante, when you were going through the 20 kinds of self-view, Sakkaya Ditthi, so the 5 sets of 4. So the second one, so I think it's in Pali it's Rupa Vantang Atanang or something.
Yes.
But the translation you were reading was the body as possessing a self. But I would think that would mean the self possessing a body.
That is in the... Okay. I think I was reading from that.
Because Rupa Vantang means possessing a body, owning a body.
Yes.
Because I'd heard this explained as the first kind of wrong view is thinking I am the body. The second one is thinking I own the body. The third one is thinking I am in the body. The fourth one is thinking the body is in me.
Yeah, maybe I took the translation from Bhikkhu Thanissaro. Yeah.
Do you have the Pali there?
That sutta is... yes, I do have the Pali. Sakkaya Ditthi, right?
Yeah.
So Katamang Pana... Oh yeah, this is Chula Vedala Sutta. Let me share. This is Access to Insight. The translation is by Bhikkhu Thanissaro. So here he says, yeah, this is what he says. The body to be the self, or the self as possessing form,
Okay.
or form as in the self, or the self as in form.
Okay, so the self as possessing a body.
Yes.
Okay, that answers my question.
Okay.
My second question, can you talk about the difference between Silabbata Paramasa and Silabbata Sampanna? I seem to recall coming across this term Silabbata Sampanna as being one of the qualities of a stream enterer.
Yeah, I think in the last sutta that I mentioned, that is Nandiya Sutta, Sotapanna. In that Nandiya Sutta, we have qualities to for the person to practice, right? So in that sutta, we have certain things that we can work towards the Sotapanna, and these are the I think I mentioned that. Yeah.
So can you say what Silabbata Sampanna means?
Yeah, Silabbata Sampanna means so wrong rites and rituals, and then also right rites and rituals are also there. So when you say Sampanna, endowed with those rites, Sila, that I think they are all related to the Adisila, Adisila or the Patimokka Sangvara Sila. These are all part of the Sila. But I think for the lay person, they don't have to follow the Patimokka Sangvara Sila, but they still will follow the for example, starting from Panatipata, Panchasila, the rights Sila is also important. So one is Sila, the other is Vata, or Vata is called Samadhana. Sila is the morality. They can be two different things, but they can also go together. Let's say we wake up early in the morning, that is not a Sila. Or let's say you abstain from killing living beings, that is Sila. So Sila and Vata are few different things. Like Dutanga, for example, they are Vata. At 8 Dutangas are there. They are what we call Vatas. And I think Buddha also has mentioned about some of those Vatas. And when you say Silabbata Sampanna, so those Silas, and we also have the morality. Sila is the very foundation of our spiritual practice. So the right Sila is really important. Right Sila is also coupled with right view. With the right view and with the right Sila, and when you are endowed with that, that is called Silabbata Sampanna. Yeah.
Okay, thank you.
And Joy asks, will a Sotapanna create negative karma?
It cannot okay, so Sotapanna person will have already right view. Yeah, that person still do have that person has only got rid of Sakkaya Ditti Vichikicha Silabbata Paramasa. But then again, Kama Raga Patiga will be there. Rupa Raga, Arupa Raga, Mana Uddhacha will also be there. So, but it's not like any other mundane people. They although they are engaged in those karma, kind of negative. We can say it's not completely positive, but they are still doing some karma. But that will not be very strong karmapatha like the other people do. Even though they can get angry, like kamaraga, patiga. Kamaraga means sensual desire, that we will discuss tomorrow. And Patigha also we will discuss tomorrow. I think in that hopefully I can discuss more. So Patigha is angry. They can get angry too. Yeah, Sotapanna person can become, they can get married, they can have a family life. Sakadagami person also can get married, and they can also get angry. Only when you become Anagami, you don't get angry. You don't get angry. You don't have any lust, sensual pleasures. Yeah, that's a different thing. That's why they can also be born in the Suddhavasa or Brahma realm after that, because they are not interested in these bodily forms and all that stuff.
Thank you, Bhante. And Gita asks, Bhante Sumitta, for one to be established in the third path and fruit, anagami, one must abandon ill will and sensual desire. Is it sexual desire or all sensual desire?
I think we will discuss about that tomorrow.
Right, Gita, you have to stay tuned. And Sam asks, do we know if anyone is a Sotapanna?
That's a good question. We know many that when they are abbots of the temple, then we know that person, that monk is abbot of the temple. Or we know that where we have a Sangaraja, we know, oh, that monk is a Sangaraja. And but we don't know when somebody is Arahanta or Sotapanna, because they don't say that. And we know when somebody has a BA degree, MA degree, or PhD, because they actually highlight that more than their name. So we know that too. But the Arahanta people, or the Sakadagami people, or the Anagami people, or the Sotapanna people will not really reveal those things to people. They will be so quiet. So that's also part of the practice that they do. They would reveal it if necessary. Of course, they can reveal it to their spiritual teachers. They can do that. Or like Sabrahmacharis, they are spiritual companions with the same path. They might they would definitely reveal, but not to other people. It doesn't make sense to them. And it is also mentioned, like in our practice. Let's say we all practice, and sometimes when we practice in day-to-day practices, let's say you are in some sort of like maybe you have the nimitta, you have the patibhaga nimitta, or you are in some form of maybe close to, you have seen some signs in your meditation. You don't have to publish those things. Yeah, you just keep quiet. The quieter, the better. In Buddhism, we have a word called muni. Muni means silence. There are 6 kinds of munis. Agara muni is the lay people who are always in the path, right path. So they are called agara muni, lay people. And anagara muni is the practitioners, monks, who are following the right path, still not attain anything spiritual path, attainment. And then Sekha Muni, Sotapanna Maggapala, Sakadagami Maggapala, Anagami Maggapala, and Arahanta Magga. These 7 people are called Sekha Muni. And Aseka Muni is the Arahanta Phala person, and that is another Muni. And then Pacheka Muni is the Pacheka Buddha, and Muni is the Samma Sambuddha. So it is said the Buddha really appreciates noble silence. That is why it is called Muni. Muni means silence. So they like silence. That is why Shakya Muni Buddha. So they do not give publicity to their spiritual attainment, because it doesn't make sense to them. They have already got rid of these defilements. They don't want to have name and fame, they are actually taking us back to the samsara.
Thank you, Bhante. And Kumu asks, Bhante, in many suttas, the Buddha advised not to think about who we were in the past and who we will be in the future births, etc. But to overcome Michaditti, we have to believe in realms and deva births.
We have to believe. Yeah, I mean, you have to believe is a different thing, right? So, like, of course, we think of the rebirth, the circle of samsara that is already with us, and that's part of the. I think it is part of the right view too. And if you think like there are other sentient beings, that doesn't hamper you, that doesn't hinder you from becoming a right view person. Yeah, there are devas, there are brahmas, many hundreds of suttas are there. Those devas and brahmas, they came to the Buddha and they discussed many dhamma matters with the Buddha in the middle of the night. So we definitely think of the devas and the brahmas. Does that make sense?
Thank you, Bhante. And I have a question. So when we talk about distorted ways of approaching rites and rituals, it's kind of obvious, like in the examples described in the suttas. But I was wondering if you had any reflections, for example, on how this could be manifested in someone who doesn't have a religion or doesn't have a spiritual practice. So perhaps, your impression living in the West where you might interact.
Yeah, I think nobody will practice in the West like those like Senior and the other person, like the dog dog ascetic. But there are people who are so much possessed with certain rites and rituals. And when you think of some people, like the way they act like that, I think that will not help. As I mentioned, will it help us to get rid of the greed, hatred, and delusion? And or will it generate more greed, more hatred, and more delusion by these things? Some people are so much addicted to the animals. Some people are so much addicted to certain practices. I think even whether you are a Buddhist or not, or whether you are even practicing any religion or not, that wouldn't matter. If you generate bad karma, bad thoughts, like greed, hatred, and delusion, I think that will be serious difficulty in going forth. And for Sotapanna thing, it's exclusively, I guess, you need to have something very special. Definitely not any other mundane, just a simple person can attain Sotapanna. Even think of it. Like we have been trying to see the Dhamma for such a long time, and so we also have to find, we still, I think, are trying to find the way. Maybe we know that we are just next to it. There is also called Chula Sotapanna state, like very next to becoming a Sotapanna. Maybe many of us are close to that stage, at least. So for the other people, I would say, if those rituals and rites are not making any sense, don't do it. Yeah, it doesn't make sense maybe for some. But let's say like we as Buddhist monks, we have to wear the robe, we have to go for Pindapata. I think that's part of our practice, and also becoming simple lifestyle, living like it is said, vivicceva kamehi vivicca akusalehi dhammehi. So we have to get rid of those sensual pleasures, and then we also have to get rid of akusala dhammas through our body and the mind and the verbal. That way, if we get rid of those things, we can also be closer to the Sotapanna stage, and keep practicing, and also practice the Noble Eightfold Path. And these are really important things, I think, for the Buddhist people. If you want to become a Sotapanna, and I must say it is exclusively Buddhist practice.
Thank you, Bhante. And do our residents have any questions?
Okay.
All right. And well, Ghislaine has a question that is a little off topic, actually, maybe it could be perhaps on topic, maybe for doubt. I'd like to know how to have peace of mind, how to not have too much thinking in the mind, Bhante.
That's off topic.
Yeah. So have yoniso manasikara, like maintain mindfulness, and I think that will be very helpful. Not to worry about your past, not to worry about your future, but to live at the present moment. Hopefully, can help you.
All right, great. Thank you, Bhante. And well, Dinko has a question that is relevant for the next episodes of the teaching. So you're ready ahead of the path. So Dinko, you can ask your question again tomorrow or the day after. So I think that's all for this evening tonight. So thank you all for joining. We will be meeting again with Bhante Sumitta at 8 a.m. New York City time tomorrow. Then in the evening, we'll have Bhante Sudaso sharing some teachings on Mara by request from someone. And then again on Friday morning, Bhante Sumitta will conclude the workshop on the stages of awakening then. And on Friday evening, any questions you might have that are lingering, you can tune in for monk chat. If you're around the monastery this weekend, you're welcome to come and practice for the Upasatam. So it will be a full moon on Sunday. And of course, on Saturday at 6 p.m., we'll have the usual Dhamma talk and meditation on the lawn. Next week, the Sangha here at Empty Cloud will be on retreat. So you'll have a lovely recorded teaching, blast from the past. So Ajahn Punadhammo's retreat will be broadcasted. So you can still tune in at the same times that you're used to. And there will be a Ajahn Punadhammo teaching from a few years ago. Very good teachings. There's also Venerable Bhikkhu Bodhi's teachings that are being broadcasted on the channel. And then but there will still be a Shifu Simplicity's live stream, and as well as Venerable Sakya Dhammadina, both on Saturdays for the introduction to Abhidhamma. So we'll still have some live streams, just not from Empty Cloud Monastery. All right, so we can end this evening. I'll pass it on to Bhante.
Thank you very much for joining us today with this Dhamma sermon on Sotapanna. I'm sure there are so many things to learn for all of us, and hopefully by the power of this merit, you all be able to come closer to the Sotapanna stream enterer stage. And that will be one of a great wishes that we all can have. When you listen to the Dhamma talk, it is said there are 5 benefits. Asutang sunati, sutang paryodapeti, kankang vitarati, ditting ujung karoti, and chittamasa pasidati. So you listen to things that you haven't heard before, and you also straighten or consolidate the things that you have heard before, and then you also clear your doubts, and you straighten your view, and your mind becomes happier. And so by the power of this Dhamma Desana, you also gain a good karma called, merit called Dhamma Savana. When you listen to a Dhamma, actually you do not generate unwholesome thoughts, you generate wholesome thoughts. If you listen to a Dhamma talk and generate unwholesome thoughts, then of course you won't be able to generate a good karma. But when you listen to good teaching, you gain good karma. And by the power of the listening to this Dhamma talk, and also by practicing many dana sila bhavana in our lifetime, in our samsara, may you all be well, happy, healthy, and safe wherever you are, and your family members, friends, and relatives also be blessed by the noble triple gem. And also, if you are a monastic, your community members, your monastic community also be blessed by the noble triple gem. May all of us and all of them and all sentient beings, including devas, brahmas, and all sentient beings, and also the departed ones, be able to attain the supreme bliss of Nibbana at the end of our samsara. Thinking thus, please keep your palms together close to your heart and say 3 times, Sadhu, Sadhu, Sadhu. Sabbitiyo vivajjantu sabbarogo vinassato mate bhavattu antarayo sukhe digayuko bhava bhavatu sabba mangalang rakhantu sabba devata sabba buddhanubhavena sada sotte bhavantu te Bhavatu sabba mangalang rakhantu sabba devata sabba dhammanubhavena sada sotti bhavantu te. Bhavatu sabba mangalang rakhantu sabba devata sabba sanghanubhavena sada sotti bhavantu te. Abhivadana silis niccang vaddha pacayino chattaro dhamma vaddhanti ayuvanno sukhang balang ayurarogya sampatti sagga sampatti mevacha ato nibbana sampatti Iminate samijjatu. Sadhu,
Sadhu,
sadhu.